You're watching the Health Now Nutrition Podcast, advancing our holistic and nutrition industry one story at a time. Presenting your host, Michelle Post.
All right, so here we are. Welcome to Health Now Nutrition, and this is the amazing Janice that we're talking with today, who is sharing more of her absolute wonderful expertise on health and nutrition, along with being a contributor in the amazing book Saved by Nutrition, as well as her own upcoming book for the spring, Yes You Can, which I can't wait to actually see out there as well too. You've just got some great stuff to share with everyone. Janice is a nutritional consultant and holistic cancer coach and provides research-based education on how to combat illness and disease through diet and healthful living. She practices in Nova Scotia and does keep an international clientele as well. She offers cooking classes as well as educational talks about various health topics. So if you want to get a hold of Janice, you can find her at Janice at JaniceInspiringChange.com or her website at www.JaniceInspiringChange.com. So you can schedule your 1 hour appointment with her. So I'm super excited to see you again, Janice. I always love talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine to join you. We have such great conversations when we do this.
I know, right? I just absolutely love it. So today we're going to talk about the rise of veganism, and with it, the availability of vegan junk food and how to move towards a whole foods diet. So just stay tuned, everyone, because Janice will be sharing a video on vegan, gluten-free and vegan crepes and or wraps, however you want to choose to use these. So you'll want to stay attuned for the whole thing. So just give us a little bit more about yourself and the type of work that you do as I sip my tea.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction. I am a registered holistic nutritional consultant, and I'm also a holistic cancer coach. I started my career when I was living in Qatar, and I'm now living in Nova Scotia and working from home and online and see clients all around the world. And what I do is, my goal is to help you get healthier. And so with that, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not a one size fits all. It's whatever it is that your body needs and what you need is the way we're going to go. I'm going to help you achieve your goals in the way that's going to work for you and make it achievable, not a very realistic, and so that you will see results. And when you see results, you just can't believe how amazing, most people don't know how great they can feel. And once you're on the other side of that, there's no turning back, because it's just amazing. And I've been through my own health journey, and that's where my work stems from. So I'm living proof that we can turn our future around. So that's what I do.
Absolutely. And you have such a great story. So my friend, you do want to get the Saved by Nutrition book that has her amazing journey back to health from such terrible circumstances in it. Absolutely. What I'd like you to actually share with us is just give people a little bit of idea of what is veganism.
Okay, sure. And it's a question I get asked a lot. So following a vegan diet, in my opinion, is eating a whole food plant-based diet. And the veganism of today, though, there's lots of people who are vegan, quote unquote, and they are following a junk food diet, a vegan junk food diet. Sugar is vegan. So there is that. And but when
Oreos are vegan.
Oreos are vegan. And interestingly enough, back several years ago, my husband had a bit of a scare and with his health, and someone who's from a different modality than you and I are suggested pudding, white bread, and Captain Crunch cereal. And so that's a junk food vegan for sure. And so a vegan, a real vegan, is someone who eats no animal products whatsoever.
Right. And so those no animal products whatsoever. Now, what types of things do they not include? I'm specifically mean like insects, right? Like, so no honey, no milk, no cheese as
Mhm.
well. It literally is all plant.
That's right. That's right. And so you will find some vegans that do eat honey, and there are some that don't. But the true definition would be someone who eats absolutely nothing from animals.
Nothing from animals and nothing, no byproducts from animals as well. Awesome. Awesome. So there are so many vegans though, or even like regular people that actually say that they eat well, and yet they're still burdened by by many ailments. They're still on numerous medications for various things like arthritis and high blood pressure, even acne, and even diabetes. Why do you think that there's a disconnect between their healthful eating and these issues and ailments they still have?
Good question. I think the reason first of all, I think that what we're being told is that you mentioned a few diseases, any type of disorder, we're being told that that's normal. People your age, it's normal for people your age. It's normal for teenagers who like you, who have acne. It's normal. And it's not normal. There's no truth in that. It's normal, yes, but it's common, but it's not normal. It's very common for people a certain age to have a certain illness, but it's only because of lifestyle that they have that in the first place. So the disconnect, I think, comes from what we've been told, what we've been brought up to believe, what we are told as adults, and of course marketing has a lot to do with it, because you will see a group of people in a social setting enjoying a food that is not healthy, and it might say on the bottom, part of a healthy diet. Well, if it's a fraction of that amount, very, very little, and very, very rarely they would have that food or drink or whatever it might be, then yes, maybe that would be part of a healthy diet. But we all know that the people who have all these illnesses, it's not just part of their healthy diet, it is their diet. There is no health in their diet, and that's why they're overweight, they have CVD, they have type 2 diabetes, they're taking medications for high blood pressure, and they're full of arthritis. The list goes on and on. And I think that the reason that they're disconnected is because of what we've been told, our marketing, and the connection that people don't know what real healthy food is. They think they know, but they don't know, because they've never, first of all, believed that there is a connection. So the media does a great job, and so do the people who we trust in our circles and people in authority. And I think that's why there's a disconnect, and they don't think that there's an option for them to get better.
Absolutely. That's actually very true, being told that this is just the way that it is, when there's
Yes.
so many factors that is affecting the ailments, like food addictions and lifestyle belief systems and all kinds of stuff. Even not all, even healthy food is good for absolutely every single body as well. So everybody has a different ability to digest or to take down different nutrients. So
Yeah, it's
super. So can you share, what is the SAD diet?
the sad diet. I can't help but say this. It's so sad. It's the sad diet is sad. It's a perfect acronym for or the word is perfect, because it's the standard North American diet, and that's and we in Canada, we're no different. We have
Yep.
the same problems, maybe a little bit different stats.
We are still North America, so
That's right. Yes, of course. And you know what's happened in this standard North American diet? Those people around the world who've adopted this type of diet have the same problems that we do over here. And so when you see a shift, and maybe somebody moved to a city, and they're in Europe or in Asia, and they were living a whole food plant-based diet, and they've shifted into a city life where there's all kinds of takeout and all kinds of tempting foods, their health goes down, because when they start to adopt our diet, their health starts to go down, and there's tons of
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So just as a reminder, we are talking with Janice, the amazing, absolutely inspirational Janice. And if you want to get in touch with her, you can contact her at janiceinspiringchange.com for email, or her website at www.janiceinspiringchange.com. All right, so we're talking about the SAD diet, so the standard American diet. So that includes us in Canada as well. And what do you think is actually missing from the SAD diet?
Oh, wow. So much. But basically, people eating the standard North American diet, and a lot of those people are overweight. We know the stats about obesity and people who are overweight. Basically, those people are walking around nutritionally deprived. They are overweight and nutritionally deprived. So that's definitely the thing that's missing in the standard North American diet. We're lacking vegetables and we're lacking fiber. And I think that the stats say that we get about, people who eat the standard North American diet get about 5 grams of fiber a day, if that. And we need 40 or more in order for our bodies to function properly. So we have 0 fiber in our body, and we have limited nutrients, and the body just can't function that way, and that's why illness and disease develops.
Absolutely. So what do you think they should do to shift in order to start eating well?
So shifting into eating well, first of all, I think it's really important they find somebody who knows what eating well means, because the definition is different depending on who you talk to.
Dr. Google.
Oh, right, exactly.
Right.
Google will tell you that it's okay to eat, Twinkies and drink beer all day or whatever.
Twinkies are vegan too.
You are vegan, that's true, Michelle. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's your diet. It's not going to help you. So what was your question about how can we shift? Is that right?
Yeah.
So I think finding somebody who can help you shift and find out exactly what's going on in your body and make the suggestions to try to get you on the road to recovery or on a healthier path. And that's where we need to start. And making small changes seems to work quite well for people. And doing what you can do day in, day out, creating new habits so that the little changes that you're making are going to stick. And if we go out every day and maybe we're gardening, we're planting seeds. Every day you go out, you plant your seeds, and you don't see anything, but you tend to your garden and you continue going, and all of a sudden you start reaping the benefits of all the work you did in the garden. So little by little, day by day, you don't really see much progress, but all of a sudden you're sitting down at the table and you're eating what you grew. So I think you can look at little habits every day in terms of what you're doing as far as your lifestyle in the same way. People will say, I ate salad all week, I haven't lost weight. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't happen that quickly, and you really have to wonder what else the person is doing. So little changes day by day, I think is what most people are willing to do, and you will get results.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, because there's more than just eating salad every single day. There's a lifestyle. How are you eating? How's your digestion working? Are you eating while you're frightened because you actually shut your digestion down? You can eat anything when your digestion is down, and yet you won't lose weight because it sits there. It's not being digested. So I love that you said that.
And the nutrients that you're eating from that healthy food are not going to get absorbed.
Yes. So then, tell us a bit more about organics then. When it comes to healthy food, organics is a big label that people like to use quite a bit. Can you share with us what organic truly means?
Well, organic food is food that is not genetically modified and is grown in soil that is not full of pesticides and chemicals, and the food is not sprayed with chemical pesticides. So the way to do that can be a little bit challenging depending on where you live and what you have access to. But that's what organic food is. And a lot of people don't believe, they think organic food is a gimmick. And sadly, there may be some instances where it is a gimmick, right?
Right.
And so, you know, I think when we're looking at organic food, I think it's really important to, if you have access to a fresh market, to go there and start to talk to the vendors and see what they do. And I think we've talked about this before in one of our sessions in the book writing course that you're so great at, by the way.
Thank you.
Michelle teaches the book writing course, and she is awesome. So if you're write your own book, she's your girl.
Thanks, babe. I love that.
So anyway, so you go and you talk to these people and you find out, because they may not have an organic sign on their vending table because it's really expensive, and the leaps and hoops you have to go through to have that certification. A lot of small farmers just can't afford it, but they're doing everything by the book. So this is how I go about shopping for my produce and all of my things. So I find out from these people what they do and have a conversation with them, do a little bit of research and find out exactly if they mention a product they use, go home and search it out. And so you can find people in your community that you can trust. And I don't think, you know, in Canada, there's definitely, we all have access to that. And then do a little bit of your own homework, and you can find what you need to eat well from your organic. And the other thing I always like to say, because I've had this argument with a few people or discussion, is, well, I don't really think it's organic. I don't believe in it, and it's more expensive. And I say, if it has an organic label on it, I'm willing to bet that at least it's better than the alternative. So I'm willing to eat it if that's all I can find, and I think maybe it's an iffy product or something. I'm willing to have that because I still think it's better than what is not labeled that way.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't know the effects of pesticides and herbicides, and it's really interesting because some people may still be experiencing this in their community centers where they do get sprayed on a regular basis in their community. And the actual community center is legally obligated to send you a wJanice sheet or a chemical sheet to actually showcase what the issues with those chemicals can actually do to the body. And I learned this going through my own fertility journey about the chemicals they were spraying can actually disrupt reproduction. And yeah, it's a big no-no. So they know that there are side effects to these. So no, and that was for me personally a 6-month journey of getting that all out of my body and increasing my own fertility chances by over 300%, which was scientifically shown through the clinic. So super, super. And I love what you also say. So the aspect I believe that's a gimmick would be the fact that they have to be monitored to be organic, and it does cost money to buy and purchase the organic label, so therefore they pass that on to the consumers, which we're seeing nowadays. That's what everybody's doing. Yeah. Right, so everything gets passed on to the consumers. Yet I love what you said about asking, because I feel so many people out there do not know that they have the right to ask what is going into their food, how their food is being created. I love that.
The other thing I do, if I go to the grocery store and I see something there that is in really, really bad shape and they still have it for sale, I talk to them about it. I say, how dare you have this available for someone, even if it's reduced. I mean, that's even worse because, you know, maybe the person will eat that, and if it's gone too far, they might get food poisoning from it. Yep. So, you know, question your supermarkets and demand that they bring in more organic and more information about the foods that you're looking for. And I wanted to touch about the chemicals, Michelle, and you talked about your challenge with fertility. There's glyphosate is in the news all the time, and or glyphosate, I should say, and that's something that is sprayed throughout, well, everywhere. It's been banned in a lot of places in Europe, but we're
Yes.
still in Canada. And right here in Nova Scotia, in the last couple weeks, there's a schedule where they're spraying, and you know, we're trying to fight this, but it's hard, and we need to speak up about that, because there's a real theory about gluten. And is it actually that you're gluten sensitive, or are you glyphosate sensitive?
Glyphosate.
Glyphosate sensitive.
I know,
And
right?
that word must be the French in me.
It is.
And so, you know, it's these chemicals that the body doesn't know how to handle.
Nope.
And it's no wonder it's causing us to start to break down and develop these certain illnesses.
That's actually amazing, because even in our example, my dear husband has an allergy to strawberries. Every time he ate it, he would actually get some hives and such, and until we started going organic. And then he was actually able to eat organic strawberries because there's no glyphosate on it. You know, there's no chemicals. So there's a massive difference between, so just what you're saying is absolutely true. Absolutely true. So yeah, it's super important to eat clean that way. Absolutely super important. So next we want to talk about the fast food companies that are serving up so many of these plant-based meals. What does this mean?
Well, you know, it was last summer that I first heard on the radio in my car, some fast food chain in my hometown was promoting their plant-based burger, vegan burger, whatever it was. And then I heard it again from a different place. And then I heard it again from a different place. And this all happened within about a month or so. And I thought, wow, this is good news. And you might be surprised I say it's good news, but let me explain.
Yeah, please.
To me, this means that these huge companies, multi-million-dollar companies, have been doing their research. The science is showing that the food that they were serving has been causing the illness and disease. So what they have done in order to stay in business is to cater to the market that is out there. And people say, oh, veganism is just a trend, or plant-based whole foods just a trend, but it's not a trend. And I don't think that the fast food companies would follow a trend if they didn't think that it was going to last. And so they've had to face the fact that what they're offering maybe isn't ideal. Yes, it sells, but they're losing out on a wide market if they don't start offering something for those people. So that's why I say it's good news, because it shows me that people are waking up, and that we are headed towards shifting. Now, it's still, to me, junk food, because it's still a processed food.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you know, fake chicken, I don't know what it is. It's a processed food. But the shift is there, and that's a good thing to see. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? What a great perspective, an absolutely great perspective to actually share that, yes, the waking up is definitely becoming more real. And I love other alternatives, though, to the more vegan type burgers than what they have out there. You make an absolutely wonderfully valid point on that, and why it's still a good thing. So good for you. I love it. On that note, I would love to share at this point your amazing video. So Janice has shared with us a video on making gluten-free and vegan crepes, and I can't wait to see it and see what she has to share with us. So I am going to put this up and share, and here we go, everyone.
Today I'm going to make gluten-free crepes. Throughout my wellness journey, I have chosen to remove wheat from my diet, and it's taken some time to find an alternative that I absolutely love. And I have found that in gluten-free crepes that I love to make and love to eat. Today I'm going to make 3 of them for you, show you how easy they are. I've already made 2, and I'll do them again, but this one is black quinoa, and it's made with black quinoa flour, and this is the container that I have. And the other one, the bright yellow one, is made with chickpea flour. And most of you have seen chickpea flour. This is chickpea flour. It's just yellow, but I've added a little bit of turmeric in order to give it a bit more color. So you can add turmeric to any of them, but I tend to use it with the chickpea flour. I've added a little bit of sea salt as well, just a touch in each one to give it a little bit of flavor. The last one that I'm going to show you how to make is a dosa wrap. And dosa is an Indian style crepe, and it's usually quite thin, but I make mine a little bit thicker so it will be substantial enough to hold the filling. And so it's made with rice and some ground beans. And here's the rice flour dosa mix. So I'm going to make all three and show you how easy it is. I'll start with this one. You pour it in the pan. I move it around with a spoon to make it a little bit larger. My pan is already quite hot. And note that I didn't add any oil to my pan. I don't find I need it. Some pans you might find you need a little bit of oil for the first one, but as a rule, it's not necessary. The pan does have to be a nice temperature though, nice and hot. The chickpea crepe is the next one that I'll make. If you're making this for a party and you want them all to be the same size, you can use a 1/4 or 1/3 cup measure, and then they'll all end up being about the same size. Spread it out and just let it cook. And the next one is the black quinoa flour. This one, as it cooks, gets quite dark. And it's always interesting to see people's reaction when they see me eating this one. They say, "What is that?" And it's just black quinoa flour. Like I mentioned, I added salt and turmeric. However, you can add herbs if you want to. You can even add a little bit of sweet if you want. If you want to make sweet crepes, you could add a touch of honey or maple syrup and make a nice berry filling. I've actually used whipped coconut milk and rolled them up with the filling and then whipped coconut milk on top, and they're delicious that way. So these don't take very long to cook. You just kind of have to check, make sure they're unstuck, and then turn them over and cook them on the other side. Sometimes what I do as well, if I'm having a bit of a party or an appetizer type dinner, is I make large chickpea crepes and I cut them into wedges, and then I'll put them in the broiler or in a hot frying pan for a few minutes, or even on this to let them get crispy, and they make perfect chips. See how dark this one has gotten? As you can see, they're very, very flexible, which is great for rolling up, putting a filling in, and holding on to and eating. Makes perfect taco wraps. And this is the black quinoa. Again, very, very flexible. They can be kept in the fridge for a few days, and they can even be frozen, although I would use parchment paper between them. And if they've been frozen, I just put it in the frying pan to heat it up without any oil. So a lot of people are eating gluten-free these days, and this is another way to get some gluten-free, have some gluten-free options. There's no additives or preservatives in these. There's no fillers. It's just the flour and a little bit of your own seasoning. And I find that if I'm using a variation, it adds a lot of color to my meal. You can see how quick it is to make, how very, very fast it is to make these. And it's not complicated. You can make them ahead, and then you have them done. And voila, isn't that nice? Gluten-free wraps with quinoa flour, rice flour, and chickpea flour. Enjoy your crepes. Thanks.
That was fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
I love what you said about using whipped coconut cream or coconut cream to put in as a nice filling. So then that's a no sugar added wonderful little dessert. And we've done that with we've whipped coconut cream and even just dipped fruit and stuff in it. But that would be phenomenal as a nice sugar-free option dessert.
Almost like a strawberry shortcake, but no shortcake because you put the fruit inside and then you can put the whipped cream on top.
Right?
Yeah.
How wonderful is that? I love that. And I can't wait to go make some now. Oh my gosh, I have to go get some of the flour. And wow. And what other things do you use that for then if you want to do savory?
I eat crepes. That's my go-to, my bread. So if I'm making tacos, if I'm making just like I grate tofu and heat it up with some Indian spices in the frying pan, and then I'll add probably do some of my greens from my tower, and then roll it up and eat it. They're my bread. They are my bread, and I don't eat them every day because it is still a flour. But that's what I really enjoy. To me, that was a godsend when I was able to find a wrap type of thing that I could use rather than bread. That was like I was so happy, and it just goes with everything. We use it when we make Indian food. As like what do you call it, chapati? You know, it's just like like the dosa part. We usually use the dosa one, the Indian wrap, and you just make a bunch and you have it on the side and break it and use it and dip it in your curries. So this is the way this is the way I eat. And then, you know, it's interesting, Michelle, and I don't know if you get this feedback at all, but people will sometimes say, I could never do what you do because I like food. And you know, and I'm thinking there's no one on the planet that likes food more than me, and maybe we all think the same way. But you know, I was addicted to sugar, addicted to chips. I had a lot of issues with food addiction, and I know what everything tastes like. I love food, but because I wanted to live my life and not end up in a wheelchair, basically,
Yeah.
I decided to change my diet, and the food I eat, after every meal, I say, wow, that was great. That was delicious. I love that. So, you know, I love eating, and I've just found ways to make the food that my body wants and needs. I've learned to make that according to my palate, and it's perfect.
What I love about that is you're so right. Like I love food, and I've been around people who I love food. It's gone. And no, you love eating, but that doesn't mean you love food. You know, there's a big difference. And I've also found that with people, it's usually once they go to a whole foods basis, within 2 weeks, their addictions to the sugars, their addictions to the salt and whatever else that is out there, no longer affecting their taste buds. So they get the real taste of real whole foods, and all of a sudden it's something that they've never experienced. You know, and I can only liken it if you've ever been a smoker and then you quit smoking and then you had tomato soup, even the bad stuff back in the day, all of a sudden you can taste the tomatoes in the soup. And, oh my God, it's too much salt all of a sudden, you know, when you quit smoking, like you get that heightened sense back.
Your taste buds do have to adjust. And, you know, it's like rather than eating freshly smashed up strawberries, people will eat jam. Well, it's two totally different things. So why isn't the strawberry sweet enough?
Right?
You know? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. There's some magnificently sweet fruit, like even medjool dates. Use that instead of adding extra sugar because it does have fiber in it, and they are magnificently sweet. Oh my God.
Yeah, I make a date paste and keep it in the freezer for whenever I need a little bit of something like that in a recipe.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. So how can people make these changes? Like, what are the biggest stumbling blocks to making these dietary changes? What can people do?
Well, I think the biggest stumbling block is well, there's so many, my goodness. First of all, you have to be ready to change. That's the biggest stumbling block. Believing maybe that it will help, maybe that's where they need to go first. And once they are ready to change, they have to put their plan into action. And that, to me, when I had gone through everything that I went through, I had to get rid of the food that was in the house that I didn't want to see or be tempted by anymore. So doing a kitchen makeover, I call it, getting rid of the food that doesn't serve you anymore, and then going to the grocery store and finding replacements. And maybe it's a bit of swapping out and going slowly. And maybe if you're eating a breakfast cereal that has 25 grams of sugar in every cup, maybe you can look for one that has less, and then gradually work towards having oatmeal for breakfast, or a nut and seed smoothie. Gradual changes can be good for some people. I'm kind of on the fence depending on what it is I'm ready to quit. And so some things I've been able to quit a lot easier than others. But I think the biggest stumbling block is getting their house or their kitchen ready for what they're going to do, and doing some meal prepping. We were talking about that before we started. Doing a little bit of meal prep, getting things organized, and setting yourself up for failure rather than setting yourself up for success. If you're working 12-hour shifts and you didn't plan what you're going to have for dinner, and you get home an hour later than you thought, and what are you going to do if you have nothing ready to eat? And you're going to probably gravitate to that quick thing, which is usually not the healthy one. So setting yourself up for success, whatever that means to you, if it means not going to the cafeteria anymore until you get a handle on what it is you want to do, not going out maybe for a couple of weeks, if you know that when you go out, you won't be able to control that at that certain restaurant that you like so much. Just committing to whatever you need to do in the beginning to set yourself up.
So set yourself up for success, not set yourself up for failure.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So, and that's really important. And that actually leads me to one other question is, people haven't been taught to cook for themselves much these days. And that can be a really interesting transition for people in order to set themselves up for success. Do you have any advice for those people when it comes to getting started?
People who don't know how to cook, or say they don't have time to cook, and there are legitimately those who don't have time to cook. Then there's the people who watch 3 hours of TV at night but don't have time to cook. So that one, I don't buy it. But maybe what those people can do to get started is to buy pre-cut veggies. You can buy those. To buy a package of salad lettuce that's already washed. If you're not eating vegan, or even if you are, but I mean, if you're eating chicken, then you can buy a freshly roasted chicken perhaps, and you have that available. Or if you're on a vegan diet, then take some time to cook up some lentils and chickpeas and keep them in portion sizes in the fridge. And so you will be able to meet your goals, because that will kind of be ready quicker. And there's a lot of things you can buy in the grocery stores now that are quite healthy. It's not as great as buying your own vegetables and chopping them up, but if that's the way you have to do it for a while, or if you live by yourself and you think, okay, I can't buy that, it's too big, it'll go bad. So buy in smaller volume, and then freeze what you can, and then organize yourself that way.
Beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. That's just super important. So get started and start small, and then you can grow yourself in that department. Or you can follow Janice, because she has numerous other videos and loves to teach people how to cook this way for themselves. And she's Fantastic. And you already heard so many of the wonderful things that Janice does with her foods. Who doesn't want to know that?
Now, I will mention the chickpea crepe is the recipes on my website at www.janiceinspiringchange.com, and it's called a Socca crepe, SOCCA, and it is in my recipe section on my website. So it's very, very easy to do, and basically the other ones are exactly like that.
Absolutely, and hopefully you'll actually put the link to it when we air this wonderful video, and then people can go directly to your website and get that amazing recipe. Because yeah, we're all going to do this now, aren't we? Aren't we? Yes. It has been absolutely wonderful. So again, if you want to get a hold of Janice, you can get hold of Janice at Janice at JaniceInspiringChange.com or www.janice.inspiringchange.com.
Right.
What a fantastic day with you. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love seeing you. And I can't wait to have you back again, and we can just continue to share more and more and more, because fascinating for health. Fascinating. Food for health, people. Really? Yes.
Saved by nutrition, that's us.
Right? Saved by nutrition. And it's absolutely true in every one of our stories. So again, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat.
Right back at you. Bye, everyone.
You've been watching the Health Now Nutrition Podcast with Michelle Post. For more information on how you can be part of the holistic and nutrition movement, visit www.healthnow.today to book your meeting.